Good evening to all. Welcome to the today's session. Today we are going to discuss about Whirlpool algorithm. It is one of the hash function algorithm from Unit 2. So this Whirlpool has two hash functions recognized by NESSIE, New European Schemes for Signatures, Integrity and Encryption. So the general iterated hash structure which was proposed by Merkle, but there are some difficulties in his design. And then Mr. Pranil, he has proposed and he performed some analysis based on the model, a systematic analysis of block cipher based hash functions using the this model he performed. So in this model, the hash code length must be equal to the cipher block length, and here some additional security problems are introduced. The analysis is difficult when the hash code length is exceeds the cipher block length. Both should be equal. If it is vary, if it is different, then there are some difficulties. So Pranil developed 64 possible permutations for this basic model. We are giving the input, which is served as an encrypted key, and the plain text we are giving. And on this input, what is combining with the ciphertext to produce the intermediate hash code is important. So Mr. Pranil has, based on his analysis he made on this, he concluded that the only schemes in which the plain text was fed forward and combined with the ciphertext were secure. So he concluded finally this one. This is the logic: initial value, HT, hash code value. So this plain text is divided into number of blocks M1, M2 up to so on MT. So it is expressed like this. So HI is equal to encryption of HI minus 1 MI XR I minus 1 XR I. It is the intermediate value. See here the encryption key input for each iteration, which is taken from the previous iteration. The plain text is the current message block. The feed forward value is the bitwise XR, which you are performing with the current message block. The intermediate hash value is also from the previous iteration that we were seeing in the diagram. See this, the processing. Here we have the step-by-step process which is performed on this algorithm. The first step is appending padding bits. See here in this diagram you can observe this is the original message up to here. So to this original message we are padding the bits, which is represented here as 100 so on 0. Okay, so the message is padded so that the length in bits on odd multiples of 256 we are padding this. Say for example the original message is 768 bits, we are padding the 512 bits. We can pad 1 to 512 bits. Okay, so after adding this one it will become 128 bits. Okay, so I told you that is between 1 to 512. The padding bits is between 1 to 512. That is the first step. In a second step, we will append the length. The 256 bits length is appended. See here in the diagram you can observe it was appended. See, after performing these two steps, step 1 and step 2, the outcome of these first two steps is that we are making this message into multiples of 512 in length. So it can be expanded. It is represented in the form of M1, M2, M3, so on MT. In the third step, we are initializing the hash matrix. So what is the purpose of this hash matrix? Means to store the intermediate and final results of hash function. Here we are initializing the hash function. It is a 8 by 8 matrix. The matrix utilization consisting of all zeros. Okay, that we do. In a fourth step, so we are making this process message in 512 bit, all 64 byte blocks. The heart of the algorithm is block cipher. We represent the block cipher with W, capital W. Let us see about the block cipher. See, this is the, here we call it as a Whirlpool cipher. In this, we are taking the plain text. It is of size 512 bits. The cipher key, it is also of 512 bits. The round keys which is generated is also 512 bits. Here, totally we have 10 rounds. In addition to that, we have pre-round transformation. So this key expansion will generate 11 keys, which is represented from K0 to K10. It is also of size 512 bits. So like this, we'll perform 10 rounds and finally we will get the cipher text. See, this Whirlpool cipher is a non-feasible cipher structure like AES. In the rounds, just now we have seen, it is having 10 rounds. All the size, block size and key size is 512 bits. Here we use 11 round keys from K0 to K10. It is also 512 bits. And see, in each round we will perform 4 transformations. Those are subbytes, shift columns, mix rows, add round keys. So these 4 transformations we perform on each round. Okay. See that these are the 4 transformations which we perform on each round that you can see. See here the state is of size 512 bits. So the block is considered as a row matrix. It is of 64 bit size of 8 by 8 square mat, and this one state is considered as a square matrix of size 8 by 8. So what is subbytes? It is a nonlinear transformation. A byte is represented as a 2 hexadecimal digits. Say for example, the hexadecimal digits output is 3C. The first digit represents the row and the second digit represents the column. The second digit represents the column. Okay. So that is the sub bytes. Next one, shift column. In the shift column, the column remains unaltered. The first one remains unaltered. The second column is shifted by 1 byte. Third column is shifted by 2 bytes. Fourth column is shifted by 3 bytes. Like this, it will be so on. So that we perform in the shift column. And in mix row operation, it is a right multiplication. Each row is multiplied by 8 by 8 matrix that we perform in a mix row. And finally, add round key. So this round key uses bitwise XOR to add key by a key schedule to the current state. So here we will add the new key to this, to every round. So these are the 4 transformations we do in every round. Okay. Now let us see the next concept, HMAC, hash message authentication code. Hash message authentication code. It is a specific technique used for calculating the message authentication code. It is involving the combination of cryptography hash function and secret key cryptography. It is having the both. See here, this is the basic HMAC concept. See the original message. On this original message, we are applying some algorithms that may be MD5 or SHA1. After that, we will get the output. We call it as a message digest. On the output, we are performing the encryption with a key K, and then we will get the final output, which is called as a MAC, message authentication code. See the structure. So this is the HMAC structure. Okay. So here we are taking the secret key, and this is the some fixed value where after calculating it will be generate a fixed value. It is that fixed value or constant value. Okay. So we are performing this hash, means we are performing the hashing. HMAC we are performing here. And this you can observe, this is the implementation, this is the structure, and this is the implementation. The implementation part you can see in a two ways. One is pre-computed and this one is a computed per message. See, these are the abbreviations. Say for example, H means embedded hash function, IV means initial value input, M is a message input, L means number of blocks in M that you can see. Now we will discuss what this algorithm, how this algorithm works. So totally we have 7 steps that we see in a step by step now. See, in a first step, what we do, we make the length of k plus equal to b. The secret key, we are making the secret key length is equal to b. What is b? See, the original message is divided into fixed small blocks. So B is one of the fixed small block. So in a first step, we are making that secret key length is equals to that small part of original message B. So here we can see the three cases that secret key length may be less than B, that may be equal to B, or it may be greater than B. So what to do if it is less than B? We need to add 0 bit to the left of the k so that we make the k plus is equals to the b. The second case, if it is equals to, then we do nothing. We don't do anything. See here, we compare. If it is less than, we append the 0 bits after k. If it is equals to 0, we do nothing. If it is greater than, we reduce some of the bits to make equal to the b. Okay. Second step. See, after performing that, we are XOR this k plus with the IPAD to produce the SI. So this is the part we are performing here. This is the secret key. This is the fixed value IPAD. We are performing the XOR. So after performing the XOR, it will be produced output. That output is nothing but SI. See here, variable called SI. This IPAD hexadecimal value, it may be of 36 in hexadecimal. We repeat this. See, what is the equation? The equation is secret key XOR IPAD equals to SI. That you can give in a diagram also like this. Secret key, that fixed value XOR will get SI. That is second step. So the third step, see, you can observe in this diagram. The third step is, to this part we are adding the original message to the SI. To this part is added. What is this part? This is original message. See, the original message will be divided into number of B bits. I told you that may be Y0, Y1 up to so on YL minus 1. Okay. See here, take the original message and simply append to its end of SI. So we have done this. So you can see the diagram, SI plus original message, you will get like this. The equation is k plus XOR IPAD append M. These vertical lines we call it as a append, or it can be written as SI append M. You can write this SI append M, or you can write k plus XOR IPAD append M. Both are same. In a step 4, you can see this is step 3. In a step 4, what we are doing? Apply message digest algorithm. So we are performing the message digest algorithm here, that is hash. Okay. So the selected message digest algorithm, that may be MD5 or SHA1, where we are using any one of the algorithm is applied here. Okay. So that is the step 4 we do. That is represented as, see here on this SI and original message, we are performing the message digest. So that is hashing. We will get the output H. That you can observe in the diagram. The equation is H of k plus XOR IPAD append M, or you can write like this, H of SI append M. So that is the equation. Next, in step 5, we are performing that. In the step 5, you can observe here, we are performing the XOR with the k plus, the secret key and OPAD to generate S0. This process you are doing again. Here this fixed constant is changed. So k plus you are performing XOR with OPAD, you will get the S naught. So the same which we were seeing here also, the same is repeated here. In a step 6, what we are doing? We are appending H to S naught. So this H is appended to S naught. This is we are doing in a step 6. So that can be given in a equation as k plus XOR OPAD append H of k plus XOR IPAD append M. So that based on this diagram which we were seeing so far, or you can give like this: S naught append H of Si append M. This like this also you can write. Both are same. In a step 7, so you are applying message digest algorithm once again. The second time we are applying this message digest algorithm. See here, this is the message digest algorithm. Okay, so after performing you will get the HMAC code. HMAC, that is final output. So to get this HMAC k of HMAC k comma m, what we need to perform? We need to perform this message digest H of hashing of k plus XOR OPAD, this part, append H of k plus XOR IPAD, append M, this part. So it is written like this in a equation format. So totally we are performing all these 7 steps. Okay, see here I have shown all at once. So this is the total structure. We are performing all these 7 steps to describe this HMAC algorithm. Okay, let us see what are the advantages and disadvantages of HMAC algorithm. So HMAC is faster to compute, so and it verifies the digital signatures because they use the hash functions rather than the public key. So they are checking the digital signatures also. So what do you mean by checking the digital signature? That is, if the content is sent by the original sender or not. That is the verification is done. See, the HMAC can be used in some cases where the use of public key cryptography is prohibited. So where the public key is prohibited, there you can use this HMAC, and this HMAC are smaller than the digital signatures. Okay, so those are the advantages of HMAC. And let us see what are the disadvantages. So key exchange is the main issue. So we cannot prevent against reply of message attack. So key exchange, because when you are using symmetric key here, symmetric means both are using the same key. So what is the problem? You have to exchange. Okay, the same key has to exchange in between two. That is the problem. So HMAC cannot be used if the number of receivers is greater than 1. So the receiver should be only one. If it is more than 1, it cannot be used. So if multiple parties share the same symmetric key, then how a receiver knows that the message was prepared and sent by the sender? So that is another difficulty. Okay. So if multiple parties are using the same key, then he will get the inputs. So from those inputs, it is difficult to identify who has to send this particular message. Is a difficult task. So these are the advantages and disadvantages of HMAC algorithm. Okay.